Hey guys, I'm Alex.
And I'm Drew.
And today on the Two Man Comic Book Club podcast, we're going to go with issue 3 of Doctor Doom by Christopher Cantwell, Salvador Larroca, and Guru Effects. Let's go.
I gotta say, this is a creepy cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real creepy.
Whenever they teased it at the end of the last episode,
Yeah.
I was just like, God, what is this? Anytime I see like the devil in picture form or whoever it's supposed to be, and all the reds and oranges, I'm just like, I don't want to be there.
And then I always think, well, I knew immediately that it was the devil because if you listen to last episode or issue number 2, Dr. Doom gets shot in the head.
Yeah.
And while he's done some good, I guess he does have some bad that's outweighing that sent him down there.
I guess I am getting ahead of myself, aren't I? We have our pre-comic talk spiel that we always have to go through.
It's fine. We can drive. We're running this show.
Yeah. Because I realized after I said it that I forgot to say we're happy to have Torrance again with us.
Ah, yes.
Hello.
So yeah, I'm
As
just
always.
I'm being rude, just like talking about this creepy cover.
I think our fans expect nothing less from you at this point. I feel like we do need to turn the dial up to like a 2 or a 3 on the trash talk.
Okay.
Every once in a while. Just some tasteful.
Consider
list.
your dial turned.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. Yeah.
I did actually have some things that I've read, yo.
Ah, what you been reading, yo?
The last couple of days I was like, I haven't opened up a DC comic in a long time. So I opened up DC Universe, and one of them that I had started to read, because there was probably 30 episodes back or something, we were looking for like a single episode or a single issue to cover. And I was looking up the best single issue comics, and one that came up was a DC Comics Multiversity Pax Americana.
Wow.
It's like, I think it's taken from some Kennedy speech or something like that. But it's just this one-off. And I read that. It's like, it starts with I think it might be, what's the guy in the new Suicide Squad, basically Captain America with no filter.
John Cena's playing him.
Yeah.
Tori, you want to look that up? That's what you're here for.
Yeah.
It's something.
Peacemaker?
Peacemaker.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be him.
I'll throw
it might
a picture
be
of
somebody
that
else.
up on the screen right now.
Because that character is in this comic.
Okay.
But like this issue opens up with this guy skydiving with a sniper rifle, killing the president.
Wow.
And it like just, I mean, I'm not giving anything away. That's literally
That's
the
panel
first
1.
2 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's literally like a snapshot. Like, but it's like back in time. The first thing that you see is like, because like he shot straight through the head, like down, and it's just
Wow.
it's
So
disgusting.
he's a good shot.
But they're like spinning it backwards, and there is a whole lot to unpack in that episode or that comic book. So
And it was a single issue, like one and done.
Multiversity is like a series where I think it's
okay.
basically like, hey, we're going to talk about what's happening in a completely separate universe.
Is it kind of like a Black Mirror thing where every episode is disconnected from?
Yeah, 'cause
as far as I know, I haven't watched all
Because
of Black
whenever
Mirror.
I went to the next episode, it was like, all right, Multiversity number 1 again, but with a different title.
Interesting.
So that looks interesting.
I'd be curious to see that whole list
Yeah.
that you had. I've never
Of
thought
the
about like
single
a
ones?
top 10 of one-offs
Yeah.
before, just to see what those are about.
And then I also read some that I think are pretty new. I think there might be 4 or 5 episodes. I keep saying that. Man, I haven't
Episodes,
called
issues.
since like episode 1.
It's tricky when you're doing a comic book podcast with both issues and episodes.
And it's turning into a TV show too, a YouTube TV.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, I've been reading another one I think it's called Collapser. And I can't give away too much about that one yet because it's interesting. And if I were to tell you what the deal is, it kind of gives away the entire first book. But it's on DC Universe also. It's put out through the Young Animal imprint within DC Comics. So it's interesting. The art's really, really cool.
You know who drew it or drew
Not a
it?
clue. Not
Not
a
a
clue.
clue. We can find out.
I mean, if you have anything to share, I could look it up and come back to it.
I have been reading quite a bit. I've been forcing myself like every night. Like, you got it already?
I opened up DC Universe and
it was there
back there. It was written by Sean Simon and Mikey Way. Penciler, inker, and covers are all. I don't know if it's Lias. Oh my god, I feel so bad. I can't say that. Kyriazis.
Show it to Tori. Maybe he can get like
You
a
have any
actual
idea
how to pronounce it.
the artist.
Maybe you can look it up if you don't know.
Is that one L?
I don't know if it's one L or two L's or
It looks like two
IL.
L's. Yes. I don't know if that can't be right.
Could be.
Curiosity.
Yeah, it's
He did the
art is
pencils,
awesome.
the inks, and the covers.
and it's really cool.
Wow.
So I mean, it's worth me actually figuring out how on earth to pronounce this person's name.
Yeah.
But anyway, Collapser from 2019.
Cool.
So
Well, we're adding that to the list. It's on DC.
DC Universe, yes.
Yeah. Did we? I don't know if we've mentioned. Have we talked? I mean, we've obviously done an episode on comic book services.
Mm-hmm.
Have we mentioned like the new news about DC's
We did
comic?
we did a couple episodes ago.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Well, before I tell you what I've been reading, there's been definitely, I know we have not mentioned this, there's been exciting news about Marvel Unlimited recently in the last couple of days. They just came out, and I was literally scrolling on Twitter when this came out.
Yeah.
So traditionally, Marvel Comics have released new issues onto the website or onto the app 6 months after they come out in stores. So 6 months after the floppies hit, when at that point probably majority of the sales are done. They just announced they're going to cut that in half and make it to 3 months, which is super awesome. Now suddenly, I mean, 3 months is there's stories still going on that like you haven't finished and haven't wrapped up yet. So if you're on Marvel Unlimited, you can be pretty relatively caught up on some of the more recent stuff. I mean, 3 months versus half a year is a significant difference in the comic book world. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was already awesome and easily my favorite streaming platform for comics. But now,
I wonder how often that's been in, or how, what's not often, for how long that's been in the works. Like, have they been planning to move it up to 3 months? Or is it maybe a response to DC Universe Infinity? I can't remember which one it is, saying, all right, we're going to put 24,000 comics out 6 months after. And they're like, well,
now we got to compete.
let's go 3.
There's that saying that competition is good for the customer when it comes to the businesses competing like
But
that.
that's really
So
cool.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm especially excited that the Empire event is just now hitting Marvel, which I think would have taken a little bit longer to get here, which is kind of the next big event that's happening, and get to read that way sooner than I normally would have. What I've been reading, is still more Iron Man, getting ready. Yeah, there's just so much. So I started reading Karen, I always butcher her name. I've noticed that all comic book readers have the most difficult names to pronounce. That or I'm just a terrible person and need to learn how to pronounce more diverse names, I guess.
I mean, you just saw me attempt. God.
Yeah. Well, let's do a whole episode where we just try to read. No, this is going to be my questions are going to, from now on, can you pronounce this name for the trivia? If you can, I'll let you read it.
Yeah.
You have to try to pronounce it. If you get it wrong, I win. Karen Gillian, I think is how you say her name. Gillen. She had an Iron Man run that was pretty significant as far as like adding to the lore of Tony Stark. And I read on Comic Book Herald that this was like a really great series to read, to like jump into that. So got in there, read that series up to like issue 17, I think, which finished one of the major arcs and, revealed a lot of stuff. Did you know that Tony Stark is adopted and has a brother?
No, and no.
Yeah, that all happened in her run, and it's crazy. And not like, what can we do now that's cheesy and maybe won't last? It's like had long standing. I think that was revealed in her run, and then now his name's Arno Stark, and
I have a character named Arno in a couple of those stories I've written.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now everybody's going to think you were copying Marvel.
Yeah. Even though it was written years ago.
Dang it. That sucks, man. That's all right. There can be more than one Arno in this world.
Yeah.
I don't know. This Arno's pretty big time.
Mine's basically Merlin.
Oh, this guy's basically like his brother.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so they're different. It's really cool. I won't give any major spoilers away. I mean, even though that is kind of a spoiler, but it's very relevant to Dan Slott's more recent. He's kind of been the guy. So if you don't know who Dan Slott is, he's the main guy writing Spider-Man for a long, long time, like the lead writer. Finally wrapped up the webs and went on to Iron Man, and he just finished up his Iron Man run, which is now Christopher Cantwell, also the writer of this Doctor Doom book that we're reading, which is how we discovered it. But trying to just basically get through Dan Slott's run so I can get to Christopher Cantwell's run. Not that I'm not enjoying Dan Slott's run. It's actually really cool. It actually has, if you listen to our tech and transportation issue, Vespa.
I was going to say, did he employ the roller skates?
No, he didn't do the rollerblades, but he did do the Vespa. And that's quickly scaling up on my favorite Iron Man. Just the Vespa Iron Man suit is so cool.
That's pretty sweet.
But yeah, lots of Iron Man for me. I haven't really read much more. I did order the issues 3, 4, 5, and 6 of Strange Adventures with Adam Strange that we talked about in our Naomi episode. So I'm finally going to get caught up on that. I think it's up to issue 6 or 7 right now, but those are in the mail. Excited to get some actual floppies and read those, but that's basically what I've been reading. What about you, Tor? You been reading anything comic or otherwise?
I've read a little bit of The Walking Dead. I don't know if I said that last time or
I don't think you did.
Enjoying that quite a bit. I'm watching the TV show also, so it's interesting.
I think I told you this. I've still only seen the first 2 episodes of The Walking Dead, which I think every time I tell somebody that, they're like, what is wrong with you?
I know so much.
At this point, it would be like, all right, quit your job.
Yeah, I mean,
sit down.
That's what I'm trying to do with the Airverse right now.
Yeah, I'd have to.
I'm doing it. Me and Holly finally reached a point where there's nothing else on TV, and she's like, "I guess you can watch this." So I'm 420 something episodes into the 600 episode arc. So yeah,
that is impressive. I'm gonna need you to make a PowerPoint and give me some jump on spots.
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
PowerPoint.
Right.
The
Just do
Office.
that for I caught the reference.
Okay,
Hopefully
thank you.
our listeners did.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, anybody got anything else before we jump into this?
I wanted to ask
interesting.
actually, are the Walking Dead comics worth checking out?
I think so. You have to not be precious about the characters, but
Because I know a lot of people who like really like it, and I've just, for whatever reason, I've never even bothered trying to pick one up.
I think it's worth it, especially now that you can pick up just at Walmart, just like a compendium.
Oh, okay, cool.
Just
That's what I was thinking. I think my stepdad has the first compendium.
Okay.
I also think I've been saying the word compendium wrong for a long time.
How have you said it?
I think I've been saying compendum.
Well, now you have me questioning myself.
No.
You are the guy in the seat.
I will second compendium.
Yeah, it sounds way better than compendum. Compendum.
The Walking Dead is over, right? The comics.
I don't know.
I think they're still going.
Because I thought I remembered like back
No, the show's not.
last summer, it was like I thought that the creator just announced, hey, next 2 weeks, the whole thing's over, and
How
people
do
were
you
just
end
like,
something like that?
yeah, end while you're on top, I guess.
I guess, but it seems like
Speaking of ending while you're on top, I'm not cursing, but Schitt's Creek was a great show. I know it's not comics or anything, but we just finished, and we were talking about finishing on top. That's a great show. You should go check it out. It's worth it.
Yeah, Schitt's Creek is incredible. It's one of the best things on TV. Right? And then obviously just cleaned house.
Yeah.
Was the Emmys.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was interesting because there's a documentary about it, and I never thought about it. They didn't even realize how much they'd impacted until they'd already decided, all right, this is our last season, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Just to think everybody kind of discovered it after they'd already figured out their formula.
Right.
It wasn't like they were changing to fit
No.
thing. It was like, this was their show.
Yeah,
They finished it their way.
it's a rare show that literally just the entire time.
And not a single weak character or actor on the entire show. I loved every single one of them for every single second that they were on the screen. I'm sorry, this is now a Schitt's Creek podcast.
Yeah, right. Welcome to Schitt's Creek Podcast.
You were right. The Walking Dead series did end last year.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. So that is a good enough reason to pick it up, just knowing, hey, if I start reading, eventually there is a stopping point.
Yeah, and they're going to be publishing the full run of it in color here soon,
Cool.
if they haven't done it already.
Oh, nice. I didn't know it wasn't in color.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah,
maybe
it's
maybe
black and white.
the comic is?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's cool. Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever read a black and white comic that wasn't in a newspaper.
yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. Anything else before we jump into issue 3? This was a weird one. Not bad weird, but just like a we're going to hell.
Before we jump in, I do want to say, if you're still with us, like 15 minutes into the show talking about comic books, we're finally to the episode, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
No, this is
I
where
like
we
talking. Nobody gets to socialize anymore.
no. And this I've said it before. We always flirt with each other a little bit before we get started in the
Forgot
comic.
about that.
It's just how we do.
So yes, we are. I had a we don't actually open up there. We open up in former Denmark, a decade from now or whatever. Is this supposed to represent somebody's? Oh, sorry, I don't know how to work an iPad.
Mm-hmm.
Is that looks like a helmet of some sort? Does it look familiar at all to you? Like it's calling,
maybe.
hearkening back to someone?
It's possible. For a second, I thought it was like some futuristic version of the Sydney, Australia
Yeah, the Opera House.
Opera House. I do think it's worth actually. I want to read the last 2 paragraphs. Like they summarized or summarized the last 2 episodes really well, and just kind of get to catch you up if you are for some reason starting right here and this is the first time you jumped in with
Go back to 40.
to the club. Go back to 40 and check this out. Or no, this is 40. No,
This is 42.
This is 42.
The answer to life, the universe, and everything.
You're right.
Yeah.
We finally made it.
Yeah.
This is the last episode, by the way. I'm just kidding. Cool. So I'm going to read this real quick. Hopefully, I don't confuse any of my O's for D's. You'll only get that reference if you watched episode 40.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, an international program called the Antlion Project was developed to solve climate change by creating a black hole on the moon. Believing the project to be dangerously flawed, Doom publicly condemned the Antlion, which meant when Latverian missiles struck the facility, killing nearly 3,000 people, he became the prime suspect. Doom willingly surrendered, hoping to prove his innocence, but mysterious visions of a peaceful future with a loving family had been haunting him. And when Kang the Conqueror appeared and confirmed that these glimpses were more than just dreams, Doom escaped custody. The Fantastic Four sent Herbie, a unit robot that works with them, to recruit Dr. Adam Brashear, a.k.a. Blue Marvel, to track down Dr. Doom. Meanwhile, Morgan Le Fay led a fugitive Doom to the Witness to try and make sense of his visions, and before Victor could get his answers, he was shot dead by a sniper.
Yeah.
So just so you know, again, if you're picking up, you should go back to episode 40 and start this out, but the Witness is like a very what Minority Report power-like being.
I guess I watched a variant comics where they were talking about the last 2 episodes, and they said that the Witness is like from a long time ago. Like he's a mutant.
Oh, I think I did know that. I knew he was a mutant.
From X-Men, and they said something like it's not that he can see the future or something, like somehow he like exists at all points in time. So that's how he knows these things. I don't know exactly where that comes from, but I'm like, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that is a cool power.
So,
I wonder if there's any Witness solo runs or anything.
It makes me think that you could probably find info on him
Yeah,
somewhere.
for sure.
Anyway.
And it doesn't list it here. I don't think they mentioned it elsewhere in issue 2 that we just left from. That Taskmaster was the one that shot him.
Yeah.
Which if you don't know, Taskmaster, he's a really cool anti-hero. His ability is to like analyze and recreate all forms of motion and action and fighting that you can do. So basically he's a copycat. He can copy every single thing that he sees. He has to see it first. But he makes for some really cool fights eventually because he just starts matching you with your own stuff. Cool. So do you want to take it? Sorry, I didn't mean to take
No,
over
that's
the
fine.
ship.
That's fine. That's good.
but-
Oh yeah, we've been telling you that he keeps having he being Victor Von Doom keeps having these visions of the future, or we weren't quite sure if it was the future or parallel timeline, but this makes me think it's the future because it does say more than a decade from now, and he's addressing what looks like a bunch of dignitaries, just talking about, yeah, you didn't used to trust me, but now, you know, I can save everybody, you know, and I've
Right.
changed basically. I can't remember exactly.
He's basically
the
talking
detail of
about
it, but
like how they've found a way that they can control the weather and stop any natural disasters from happening. And people are questioning, like, are we playing God at this point if we're doing something like that? And he's basically playing devil's advocate a little bit, but also saying this is something that we can save a lot of people, and you need to trust me on this.
Yeah. And then, but there's really cool there's two really cool panels right over on top of each other where you get to see him in his future non-disfigured face, and then boom, his helmet right after he got shot.
Yeah, it's a pretty gnarly
still
shot.
Smoking, and he's bleeding. And then we turn the page, and
we drop right into what you just have to believe is hell from where we're going.
I had a question about it.
Yeah.
Is this, and I don't know if you know an answer, I don't know if there is an answer, is this actually like just another level? Like, is this a different place within the universe, or is it truly
Like a
meant
spiritual-
to be an afterlife or something?
I don't know. I can't. So I think it's supposed to be an afterlife because I don't imagine that Taskmaster shot him with a mystical bullet that transported him to
Yeah.
another universe that is similar to hell. I think he's in hell.
Okay.
We'll find out in a second. He's about to run into another character that I'm going to ask Tori to give us some information on. But I'll just kind of set the scene a little bit, and I'll throw some of this. This is a very stark contrast. So what Drew just explained, there was all these vibrant blues, and they're at Denmark, and it's beautiful weather, and it's just healthy and clean and vibrant. And now we are in like this very saturated red with skeletons everywhere, and it looks like organs are all over the place as part of the landscape. And there's like this, this is Virginia Woolf. Okay, so it says on like 5 or 6 panels scrolling down the screen, and I'll kind of pan this down on the screen right here. It says, I am drowning, my dear, in seas of fire. And that's from Virginia Woolf from 1927. And it shows Dr. Doom crawling out of this pile of skulls. And
I got a question.
yeah,
Who does this look like to you?
this
There
looks...
there is a right answer.
I know what the answer is. It's Megatron.
No.
Yeah, it looks like Megatron.
Okay, maybe there's 2 right answers. Okay, have you seen, I don't know what year they were from, but the first Ninja Turtle live action movies?
Yes, but it's been a long time. Is it
Well-
Shredder who you're thinking?
Not just Shredder, when he goes Super Shredder. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
Okay,
If
well,
you can shoot me a screenshot, I'll throw it up on the screen
I'll look
side
it
by
up.
side with this panel.
I feel like this is Super Shredder.
Yeah, and then I'm going to put Megatron right next to it.
Okay.
And then we're going to put a poll on a Twitter, and we're going to see who he really looks like. I'm probably going to lose.
Super Shredder.
Ignore what I'm just going to cut that out of the video.
I'm cutting your part out of the podcast.
That's fine. Yeah. But yeah, we're in hell. Dr. Doom says very well, hell then. And this is, I don't think, the first time he's been here.
Yeah.
And he's kind of walking, and we see a little bit of almost like the archway, Dante's Inferno inspired looking arch that he's walking up. And then we see in the distance this very demonic looking character, and he starts walking towards Victor, and he says, Victor, it's been some time. And Doom replies, he says, but like the last, I'm not here to stay, Mephisto. So I don't know a ton about Mephisto. You're seeing him on screen right now. He, I think, is just supposed to be Marvel's version of the devil.
Okay.
I don't know if he's a mutant. I don't know anything, but I bet Tori has something to say about it.
Yeah, he is a demon and was created along with other demons whenever the Supreme Being of the Marvel Universe committed suicide.
Oh, wow.
This is what Mephisto claims.
Oh, okay. That's heavy.
Yeah, and Mephisto refers to his lair as hell.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we are in some interpretation of hell right now, and Mephisto's there. He looks, I mean, I'm sure people could look at him without any sort of text around and say, I'm guessing that's the devil, or some sort of demon. But basically, they go back and forth on, like, who is doomed to say that he's not staying around when he's in hell. Like, you get the sense that they're both probably really powerful and have kind of been at each other before. And they actually get into a heated conversation, and Doom ends up clocking Mephisto right in the face. And it doesn't really seem to faze him, but Mephisto quickly realizes he's losing the fight, but wants to go into like this mental game with him, and shows him his long lost lover, who apparently was sacrificed and sent to hell so that Doom
dark.
could become more powerful.
It said something. Was this where he traded his mother for Valeria? Is that right?
Saved his mother's soul
Yeah.
and left his ex Valeria, I guess, in hell, which is pretty heavy.
Yeah.
But I guess it is a mental game if you're gonna, pull whatever shots you can to beat Doctor Doom. But this is a very kind of tasteful, cool transition. It looks like out of fury, like you assume it's Doom's hand punching a wall, just like mad about what has been brought up. And then we notice that we're in Latveria. And Drew, what is happening in Latveria?
Yeah, we're checked in with, her name is Victorious?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to get that right. And I guess the Simcarian troops are advancing on their the I was going to say the Doom troops. No, what what's his place called?
Latveria.
Latveria. I was trying to think Valeria because that
Right.
was his sister or his lady.
Yeah.
And she's just angry, and she's like, I got to go think about this. And she goes to her floor. She has a floor.
Right. Yeah. And if you'll remember, she was left in charge after
Yeah.
Doom surrendered himself.
And
of Latveria.
she takes off her helmet, and she's doing some exercising, and you got 3 panels right next to each other of her doing a push-up, and then a push-up, and there's some ninja looking over her shoulder, and then she turns over and shoots an energy blast.
Yeah, which I
Like
did
this
not
ninja.
know
She could do that,
she could do. I don't know what her deal is, like
I don't
powers. I don't know anything about her.
Apparently she can shoot booms.
Yeah, apparently she can handle her own.
Yeah.
Like, she don't need no man.
And they start fighting, and they're both quite adept. And I'm just going to say it because it's easy enough. There's not many words, but she's like, it'll take more than your special forces. And she's like, special forces? No, Zora. I'm your personal guillotine. Hiya! And she's like, she pulls out her samurai sword, and she's coming down on Zora. I guess Victorious? Zora? I
don't know
both of her names?
what the connection is
Yeah.
there.
But she like stops it. It's a pretty sweet thing, catches
Right,
the
she
samurai
catches it.
sword, and her hands turn like purple, and basically it explodes and knocks the ninja or whoever out, and she looks on, and she's like, gone. And then that's all that we see of that for the time.
Yeah, it's a crazy scene because I mean, Tori, can you? I don't know. Maybe you're a step ahead of me. Can you look up like what her powers are? Victorious or Zora?
Yeah, I'm looking her up right now.
It looks like it's almost like a psionic energy thing, but like it makes in that third panel where she catches that samurai sword. What are those called? Katana.
Yeah.
Like you can see her skeleton through her hands, like it's like turning that hot or
there's something
something, like
different,
some
yeah.
sort of like phasing. I don't know, but it's pretty cool looking.
Yeah, she has flight, superhuman strength, and energy manipulation.
Ah, so she's
So that's where the booms come from.
right. Yeah. So
Doom,
apparently she's. I don't know how she's connected originally to Doctor Doom. I sounded like a country boy right there, Doctor Doom.
I think it's because I kept saying boom. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Boom,
Dr.
Doom.
Doom.
If you find any background of how they know each other, Tori, feel free to chime in when appropriate. But yeah, we after she handles this assassin that comes in after her, we end right back up in hell, and we see it's kind of like a pretty heavy scene. Like Doom is reaching for Valeria, like begging her to stop as she's running away from him. And this is also some very, very clever art. I don't know if you caught the top panel bleeding into the second left one. It's like almost first person view of him reaching, and you just see this cloak. I'll throw this up on the screen. He's reaching out towards her, and the cloak bleeds down into the second panel, and the perspective changes, but it's the same cloak. Like it's coming out of his back, and you can see him. It's really hard for me to explain. Again, I'll have it up on screen. But he's chasing after her, and he even, like, in rage, like, shoots a blast at her feet to make her fall down, which is like, come on, man. That's not the best way to
This is
handle
not
this.
important.
Let's hear it.
But I have a question. Have I ever talked to you, like, asking what your favorite, is it onomatopoeia? Whatever, like, your superhero sound
Oh,
that's written
I
out
think
is?
it's an onomatopoeia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have a favorite one? Because mine might be Bume now.
Bume.
Yeah, that came from her. Bume, Bume, Bume.
I think my favorite one, and I can't remember where it happened, but there was some, like, explosion that they were trying to, like, express just how much of a, like, bassy warp it had to it, and they did it in such a way that it, like, made so much sense to me. And they did Cthulhu, and they had like a in the Cthulhu instead of a kaboom or something like that. But it resonated with me. I remember that. I can't remember which comic it was in, but
There was a really nice one. I can't remember what the word was, but in the worst X-Men ever, X-Men ever, it's like a whole page of an explosion or something like that. It was probably when, spoiler alert, when Bailey went boom.
oh right, yeah.
I can't remember what it said, but yeah, I don't know. I just see the reason I ask is because the panel you were talking about, Dr. Doom, Wakooms,
Yeah.
and we had Bume.
Yeah, it's an art, I guess, really getting some tasteful and correct. Like,
I mean, I remember I always feel like Krakoom is a pretty good one because it's like those two concussive blasts.
Right.
Krakoom
right.
is a nice one. And the sound that Kang makes when he pops in, you said your scientific poof. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah.
I think we'll see it in a second, I think. And we can double back on there.
Yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
I just had to ask that. Do you know of any that you
Your
are
favorite
a
onomatopoeia?
fan of?
I think it's always satisfying whenever I see a gun being reloaded or cocked. The ka-chack
Yeah.
sound effect.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Okay.
more subtle than ours.
Yeah, ours are just large explosions
Giant.
and bumes.
So yeah, he shoots this Wakoom at her feet, and he makes her fall, and then he's just like, Valeria, and I'm just immediately, I had this thought, I was like, dude, you just made it worse. Like, she's not happy now. But you kind of are also aware that this is more of a Mephisto manifesting things. Mephisto. Yeah, that sounded naughty. Anyway, he comes up behind her, and he's like trying to console her and make her feel bad, or make her feel better about the situation. And he's basically trying to justify him leaving her in hell with Mephisto. And long story short, she's like covering her face for most of it and looks like she's crying. And suddenly she turns around and she looks like this dinosaur demon thing with a...
I think it looks like whenever they stretch their faces out on Beetlejuice.
Oh, it does. Yeah. I'm going to put a picture of that side by This is going to be a side-by-side episode. Some pop culture comparisons to characters of hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it's like it is her, and then it spawns out of her and looks like this demon floating over the top of her, and it's saying all this stuff, and he kind of quickly realizes that he's got to beat this demon. Like, I don't know, it's just a weird thing. It almost, there's some action going on and some comic book stuff, but there is also like this real, like, I tried to put myself in the mindset, like if I did this awful thing, if I left a loved one in hell for another reason, even if somehow you felt it justified, at least I saved my mother, like the mental trauma of seeing something like that and him being like truly taken by this, like he sees this demon come out and he has to do something about it. And just so you know, we are in as much of a controlled environment as we can be. If you happen to hear some extra noise that might be outside, there's not really much we can do about it. So sorry about that. Anyway, moving on, he starts fighting this dinosaur Beetlejuice-looking character that just came out of his ex-love, and some pretty intense stuff.
You notice his wardrobe change?
Yeah.
It's like the first panel, which kind of runs the entire left side. It's like his Super Shredder. It's Super Shredder.
His Megatron suit.
His Super Shredder gear is like just disappearing, and he looks like when we last saw him, just a green hoodie with that mask that what was her name? Morgan Le Fay,
yeah.
Pulled off of some other universe's Doctor Doom's face.
Right. It's an interesting choice too. I didn't quite get the reference of why he
I'm thinking
downgraded, or
maybe he's just realizing, okay, I need to get out of here. This is not my place.
Right.
And maybe he realizes I don't need to be Super Shredder down here because that's not who I was.
Oh, so it like is the transition almost of him.
That's
like,
what I was thinking.
That makes more sense. Okay, cool. Yeah, I kind of like this Doctor Doom look, if I'm being honest. It's like a modern streetwear Doctor Doom. Kind of cool. But anyway, he's obviously winning this fight. Like he's not struggling too much. Even at one point, this was kind of graphic. He sticks what looks like a bone in this thing's neck, and it like shows it. It's pretty crazy. And then
with a nice onomatopoeia, TSCHFF.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's what he makes when he comes out of it. But anyway, he tackles him off this cliff, and they fall into more of these skulls, and then these other demons start coming at him. I mean, it's a pretty intense stuff. And then to like break up all the mess, Death shows up and says, "Enough." He will return to his life. So if you don't know, Marvel Comics has a long historic history with Death as a character. One that is most popular, and some of you may know, may not know. I'm sure this has at some point come up in 40 episodes of Two Man, but Death used to be the true love of Thanos, which I'm sure many of our listeners know as the main villain from the first giant arc of the MCU. And in the comics, the reason that Thanos goes on his killing spree to kill half the universe is because he's trying to give a gift to Death. And there's this kind of funny but also tragic love triangle with Death, Thanos, and Deadpool, of all people. Thanos loves Death, Death loves Deadpool, and Deadpool loves Deadpool. And they're kind of like there's an instance, and I think this is right. Somebody can correct me if you care enough at Twitter or comics or Tori. There's this thing where Thanos realizes that Death wants to be with Deadpool and then curses Deadpool to never die, which is where he gets his immortality, so he can never truly be with Death. So pretty interesting little story, but there's like one of the main Infinity Saga comic book runs from, I think it's like the 80s, like 84 or something like that, deals directly with this. So as soon as I saw her, I was like, oh, okay, that's a big major character. I mean, it kind of makes sense that she'd be down in hell. But as soon as she shows up, like Mephisto like realizes that that's his superior.
And that's, I had to go back and look. So up until Death shows up, Mephisto still kind of looks like the Beetlejuice character.
Right.
And it's like she shows up and he reforms back into essentially what we saw of him when we first saw him.
Yeah, it's almost like his boss caught him at work goofing off. Like that kind of thing. Like straighten up real quick.
Stop your shenanigans.
And she declares like he's going to return to his life. And he's trying to reason with also, but he's kind of, respecting his elder, so to speak, with his, but Mistress Death, my final goddess, and she says, speak again and I will show you true death, nothingness, the void. Just threatening. And basically they calm down, and Doom is like, then you must know as well that I have to be sent back to save all things. He thinks that's why Death is here. And she says, no, it is because you will become my greatest servant of all time, which leads you to think that she thinks he's going to destroy so many lives and bring them to death, which is probably my favorite page of the whole thing. Like the death scene is just pretty heavy, pretty cool. Love the drawing. And then we're back in Queens.
Yeah, and I guess somehow the Blue Marvel and Herbie tracked down. They must have not been far behind when he got shot, because they're in Morgan Le Fay's apartment and they're just sitting around talking. Kind of like arguing. It sounds like, Morgan's like, "Don't you see he's been set up?" And Blue Marvel's like, "Or he was executed for murdering more than 2,000 people." I just said murdering. Murdering. And while they're just talking, all of a sudden, he just sits up and he's like, "Oh, here's another." Well, he's actually saying, "Yeah." And they freak out. And then he's just sitting there like touching his bullet hole. And he looks up. Every time I read this scene, he looks up and he sees Blue Marvel and he was like, "We can't have this." And
Yeah.
I it says 7 sons of Cinnabus, but I choose to always read 7 sons of Cinnabuns.
That sounds way better.
Yeah, and he shoots an energy blast, and
I like this scene because it's like right out of the death, anybody else would be like, take a second. But he looks up and he sees Blue Marvel, which again, I touched on last episode, just how powerful Blue Marvel is of a character. And he's like, that's a threat.
Yeah.
Get rid of it immediately. And he hits him hard.
we got a nice Rachow. I'm just gonna. You can track this from now on. I'm probably just going to be reading a lot of the onomatopoeia.
Yeah. I wish we could throw them up there like on the screen. Maybe if we'll get better in our After Effects skills. We'll throw them up there. Yeah.
And Morgan's like, 7 sons of Cinnabuns. Nice. She doesn't really say Cinnabuns. And she's bemoaning the loss of her security deposit because you look and apparently he hasn't just knocked Blue Marvel out of the room. He's knocked him through like 4 buildings.
Yeah. Like he did some pretty intense magic. And then suddenly we get another timely
Here's your
onomatopoeia.
But this was one that I thought you liked.
Yeah,
so
I
I'll
did
let
enjoy
you
this
say
one.
it.
This was, what did I describe this as? Like
A scientific poof.
yeah, it is very, bzzoof. Yeah, that's kind of how I'm hearing in my mind, except I'm going to listen to that later and throw up.
I hear more V's, more vibration of him cutting through. Bzzoof.
Yeah. Cool. I'm going to practice that
I'm
one.
really curious how that's coming through with all these microphones.
Yeah, it'll probably be a hot mess when you go and fix it
yeah.
later. But that sound comes with a visitor, and who else but Kang the Conqueror
Kangaroo the Conqueror.
back again. I'm not going to be able to not see that. Back again, as you know, if you've been following along, he kind of keeps jumping out from different points of time where Doctor Doom is, and they're connected somehow.
And I keep wondering how much time is passing between these jumps. I got to know.
Yeah, I'm very curious how this plays out long ball. But LeFay sees Kang and says, "I don't remember buzzing you in." And Kang says, "What are you wearing?" He like notices the Doom attire that's not the norm. And he says, "A lot of cotton." "Kang, do you know what timeline that I was killed in?" And he says, "I've seen you destroyed in hundreds of dozens were at my hand." And then Doctor Doom kind of trying to cut to the point says, "Assassinated early 21st century." Like dig into your catalog of time travel. And he said, "Yes, the agent named Taskmaster did you in. Hired by Advanced Idea Mechanics, or AIM.
Yeah.
And civilization completely collapsed within 13 years of your death."
To be continued.
End
It's
scene.
just like, there we go.
It's done.
So that tracks. I mean, well, I don't know if tracks is the right term. It could have still been the reality that we saw on the first panel, because it said maybe a decade.
Right.
He could have somehow conceivably gotten healed after getting shot by Taskmaster. Got, all that stuff. He's in that thing in Denmark, and we still got a few years for him to be killed. Like,
Yeah,
it
we
could
could
be
still
the
be
same
in this timeline.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious if we'll get there. This was a really cool issue to me. At first, when I first read it, I was like, I mean, yeah, it's fun to like take the character to hell. It's not a place we see in really any sort of media very often. And I wondered, I was like, what's the long game here? What are we doing? But the stuff with Mistress Death, bringing him back, knowing that he needs to be in this timeline, but for a reason maybe that he's unaware of, definitely in contrast to the visions he's having and then what he's being told by Kang. So there's just maybe more questions than answers now, but not in a bad way. Definitely piqued interest, for sure. But I liked this issue a lot. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I personally just liked seeing him get back kicking. I know that him being dead was important for this stuff, getting to see death.
Right.
I'm curious to see if we get any payoff from that or what. But I'm just glad that he's back in his body and Kang is back.
Yeah. I'm curious, and I thought about this as soon as I read it. He just hit arguably one of the most powerful Marvel characters really, really hard. And now they're just standing around talking.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I'm very curious if panel 1 of issue 4 is Blue Marvel coming back because it's like Batman smacking Superman really hard and then turning to have some tea with Alfred.
Yeah.
I'm just curious if, I don't know, maybe they won't touch on that at all. And maybe they just think, Doom is powerful enough to hurt Blue Marvel, but also Blue Marvel's powerful enough to stand up afterwards. So very curious about that. And hopefully that's not all the Blue Marvel we see in this one. Cool. Any other thoughts?
No, I guess I need to come up with a trivia question.
Yeah. We're going to be back with our second round. No, third round.
And so far, the score is tied
at 0-0.
We're doing so good.
We'll be right back.
And we're back with our lightning round trivia, where the questions are faster than me coming up with the faster than.
Yeah. Boy, that was the best one we've had yet.
Right before we started, I asked Alex if he had one. He said no. And I said, neither do I. Do you want me to just start it and see if I come up with one?
You're right. I brought this upon us. I could have said no. Let me think of one. But here we are. And
we made it past it.
Yeah.
So for all of you keeping score at home, which I know you do.
Yeah.
You've got your dry erase board filled with which if you were to take all of our scores from the past 41 episodes, you might get to 5.
Maybe.
For me or 5.
Yeah, this is not a high scoring game. This is lower scoring than soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't get any points very often.
I think we've finished entire series with 0, haven't we?
Yeah. Tied to 0. 6 issues in.
So I will go first.
Cool.
Because my question is dumb.
I hope I can answer this dumb question or I'm going to feel dumb.
And I don't actually, the reason I say it's dumb is I don't actually know if I found the answer. I found a bunch of people arguing online. Well, not arguing, just saying.
Debating.
This is why. So it could be, I'm going to ask you the question and I'm looking for the answer that I kind of found.
Okay.
But if you know for a fact.
So if I just talk really confidently, I can get a point.
Then you can get a point.
No, you idiot.
Why is Kang's skin blue?
His skin is blue because he is part of the Kree race.
Is that real?
I don't know. Could be.
Do you have a guess?
I do not.
Well, the answer I found was because he's wearing a mask.
He's got a blue mask?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like he's just human. He just looks normal underneath. He's just from the future. And I guess humans aren't blue in the future.
I get half a point if you can confirm in a Google search that Kang is of any sort of Kree descent.
I'll
and their
allow
blue
it.
skin.
While he's looking it up, I found, this is just for funsies. As I was Googling it, I found an alter ego for Kang that made me go, arr? Like Tim
Who is
Allen. Do you want to make a guess, just for funsies?
Kong the Conqueror.
It's got the wicked canker sores.
Right, yeah.
No, that's not it. Do you have a guess?
I'm sorry, I got caught up looking about Kang being Kree.
Okay, well, you may have actually seen the answer, but I was wondering if there was one of his alter egos that I came across that made me go, wow, I didn't realize that. Do you just have any guess for potential alter egos?
I don't.
The one that I came across was Iron Lad. Yeah, I don't know. And I found a picture of him basically looking like a tiny little Iron Man.
Interesting.
I didn't look because
But he's Kang the Conqueror's.
well, it was like King the Conqueror. It had a list of like 4 or 5 alter egos.
Right.
I don't know where exactly that falls in. It could be that is the Nathaniel Richards alter ego type thing. I don't know.
Right.
But I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll show up. There've been a lot of characters,
Yeah.
deep pulls for some of them show up in this run of Doctor Doom. I like that for Christopher Cantwell. I'm excited because in his Iron Man run, Hellcat is on the cover of several of the books, and I'm like, yeah, let's get some Hellcat. Most people don't even know who that is, so I'm excited to do it. Any confirmation on Creed Descent?
Doesn't look like it.
Dang it. Well, no points for me.
I would have allowed it.
Let's give you some no points.
Done.
My question for you, and this relates directly, well, sort of. I'll give you a single hint. The answer has been said today during this recording session.
Is it Bzwalyov?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
No.
That's not my answer.
Okay, so in a run of Fantastic Four, or maybe, I think it was Fantastic Four. I don't think it was a Doctor Doom book. It was a Fantastic Four book. Doctor Doom helped Sue and Reed Richards deliver their second child. But there was one request. Do you know what that request was?
Sorry if you just heard my
Your gulp.
gulp.
He's nervous. He's breaking
So
down.
nervous.
He's cracking under pressure.
I don't know the answer, but I just remembered. Valeria was that family, wasn't she?
Sorry?
Is Valeria one of the Richards kids?
Yes.
That's not the answer, but I was just like, I thought I remembered reading about her in Secret Wars.
Yeah, you
She
did.
was a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
So they had one request about.
He had one request if he's going to help deliver this
he had
child.
request.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. All I can think of are stupid answers that I say just for a laugh that I'll never actually hear. I don't know.
His request was that they name her Valeria.
I was going to say that. I was going to say something like that, but I was like, how does that make sense? What does that have any connection to for him?
Yeah, that was his request. He kind of has. I mean, if you read enough Fantastic Four over the years, you kind of notice that it's almost like a. Not exactly like a Batman and Joker, and the Joker loves the Batman because without the Batman, there is no Joker, and vice versa. You know, they kind of like this weird kind of romance. And he feels the same way, I think, about their family, and is also a love interest. Well, at least on his end, he kind of loves Sue Storm, and Reed got the girl,
Okay.
and I think jealous of them having kids and a family and a life that he just can't have. And I think that's why you see him having visions of them wanting this thing. And they went through with it. They named her Valeria, which is, as you know, his ex-lover who is in hell.
Oh, so those aren't the same people.
No.
Okay. I was trying to make sense of like, okay, so they had a little kid and somehow she got
No, she's
super aged.
no. He's actually. I almost went with this. Here's just another fun fact for our listeners. Doctor Doom is Valeria Richards' godfather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, she's a very interesting character. We'll do some talking.
She's like
about her
supposed
eventually.
to be super smart.
She has no superpowers at all, but she's the smartest person in the one of the smartest people in the Marvel universe.
That's what I thought.
Very cool character.
0-0.
Zero. You got really close. I thought you were going to do it.
I said the name,
Yeah,
but
you
I
did.
didn't know that's what it was about.
Yeah. Cool. Well, any closing thoughts, gentlemen? It was a good issue.
Did you have any questions? Any trivias?
I do have one.
Let's do it.
The Taskmaster is known to duplicate the other people's fighting styles. There's only one person that he was not able to use that ability.
Alex.
Alex.
Deadpool.
Yes.
Reading comic books has paid off for trivia.
I think I think that was on the tip of my tongue too. I think
Yeah.
maybe you told me that at
Yeah.
some point.
The first comic book, great question. It adds more to, I have story now. The first trade paperback specifically that I ever bought was Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe. And I bought it at Universal Studios. They have a comic book shop there of all things. And he goes through, and this is non-canon. He goes through and he just, I can't remember who did it. Somebody messes with his head and sends him out as an assassin, kill the Marvel Universe. It becomes super meta and fourth wall breaking as it goes on. It's a really fun read. But he has some of the most trouble with Taskmaster because Taskmaster starts mimicking everything he's doing. And Deadpool, like, fourth wall breaking is describing what is happening right now and then realizes that he, at a certain point, can beat Taskmaster because not even Deadpool's brain knows what he's about to do next.
Okay. Yeah, that's
That's how he eventually beats Taskmaster. Good question, Tori. I feel smart that I got one.
my guess is Deadpool.
At the buzzer.
Yeah.
Do I get a point for that?
I don't know. I mean,
Tori's question's worth points.
Yeah, are they?
I say
the precedent
yes.
so far has been no, unless, like last episode, I think I said, or two ago, it was like, and these are worth no points. And I said, unless I get it right. And then you said, unless you get it right.
So yeah. So they're worth points.
Or we could just have the Tory bracket.
Okay,
And
so
like,
so now we're complicating this even more.
oh yeah. I'm just doing this so that I can stay 0-0
Okay.
and have a chance.
Yeah, well, that's fine. There's the AP poll for college football, and there's the coaches poll. Seldom do they align, but some people put more weight into the others.
Yeah.
Then so in the Tory poll, I'm winning
Yeah. Oh yeah.
1-0. That was my Keurig
Oh,
staying hot. Yeah, good thing. Cool. Well, that was a fun one. I'm for real excited to get into issue 4 now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read that tonight.
Apparently, I've read it, but I don't remember what happens. So
That happens
it'll
to
be
me all
like
the time.
I've never
Reading
read
it
it.
for the first time.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Drew, where can they find you on social media?
I am on Twitter at Drew Morris Comp. That's where I'm the most active. Or you can find me on Instagram or Facebook, Drew Morris Composer. You'll probably not find me on Facebook. I only ever get on there once a day to see
Just
if
to get
somebody contacted me to say, hey, I need you to write a piece of music for me. Nobody ever has, so I don't know why I keep checking. Where can they find you?
I am, as always, at Alex Wayne Miller. Wayne is Wayne, just like Bruce Wayne, because I am
That's the
Batman.
one.
You can find me at Alex Wayne Miller on all social media platforms. Follow me, give me a like, subscribe on YouTube.
Shellac Scribe.
Yeah, do the whole thing. Tori, what about you?
If you want to, you can follow me on Twitter at Torrance Watkins, TORRANCEWATKINS. And basically, all I do there is get in political arguments. So.
Yeah, that's fun. We all have those moments. Fun fact: Tori and I share a middle name,
This is true.
so sometimes he is Batman.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Wow, I'm surrounded by Batman.
yeah. It depends on what multiverse you're in.
Yeah.
Cool. What about the 2-man accounts?
You can find us on Twitter at 2Man Comic Book. We're trying to drum up some engagement there. So if you are on Twitter, it would mean a lot to us if you reached out to us on there.
For real. Anything. I enjoyed this episode. I hated that episode. Yeah,
Hey.
anything.
You should not make that bzwaff sound because it distorts the microphone.
Right.
Whatever you need
Yeah.
to say. And by the way, that's 2Man Comic Book with the numeral 2. On Instagram, Facebook, 2Man Comic Book Club. You can find where we occasionally... What was that?
Sorry. I was trying to pull up possible comments.
You can find us. We have a blog where we post these things with a little bit of extra info, sometimes some write-ups. That's 2mancomicbookclub.blogspot.com. But the absolute best thing you could do is go to Amazon, not Amazon. We are available on Prime Music, but I was going to say Apple Podcasts, where you can leave a 5-star rating or review. And if you do that, we will read it right here.
Yes. And we have a new one that we got kind of later. We discovered it. So this is actually posted about a month ago, and we're just now getting around to putting an episode. But we got to it. So this is from Unborn Virus. Thank you for your 5-star review. They said, if you love listening to fans do deep dives, then subscribe. These two break down every part of a comic from the writer to the letterer. As they go over each issue, they give you background information and details with the pages that flow well enough so you as a listener can flip through your personal issues and keep up with them. Thank you, Onboard Virus. It's nice to know that we are making somebody happy with this, that we spend. I want you guys to know it took an hour and a half to 2 hours today just to set up the lighting for these videos to get things going in my dining room. That's where we're sitting right now. So we've been experimenting with the lighting, by the way. So if you see some heavy inconsistencies, it's really hard to match 3 different cameras, one of them being a smartphone, and make them look the same. So I think this time we got it figured out.
And I'm also constantly tweaking the audio setup. So you probably hear some inconsistencies there. I've also jumped from different programs.
Yeah. So getting better all the time.
Yeah. Hopefully in another couple, well, I was going to say years. God, I hope it doesn't take that long. Hopefully in another couple months, maybe. We figured it out and we kind of stopped tweaking for a while.
We're in some consistency. Cool. Well, that's it for this one. And next time we'll be back with issue 4. We'll see you guys next time.
See ya. I was going to say, oh crap, I forgot to say something about Douglas Adams. So I froze and just said,